My name is Erica Besserill, and this is my Sociology 101 Social Theories final project. This is my table of contents, which lists the 10 theories that I will be covering in this presentation. The first theory is the looking glass self. I found this in Chapter 3 of my class. Cooley's theory says that we imagine how we appear to those around us based on others' reaction to us, and from there we developed our own self-concept. In this picture, you see a very strong, muscular man, but the reflection that he sees in the mirror shows him as being weak and thin and just unhappy looking. It's possible that he feels that people see him as being small and thin, therefore he feels that he is small and thin. So the second theory is the conflict theory, which I found in Chapter 1. Karl Marx's theory says that society is in a state of perpetual conflict due to the competition for natural resources. In the picture, we see refugees attempting to climb over barbed wire fences that were probably put in place to keep these people out. This applies to the conflict theory as it is a group of people fleeing their home countries because of war and corruption, both of which are due in part by competition for resources. And they are attempting to enter a country where many oppose their presence, which is partially due to those in that country having a fear of running out of resources themselves. The psychoanalytic theory, I found this in Chapter 3. This is Sigmund Freud's theory of personality, which includes the id, the pleasure-seeking, the ego, the balance of the id, and the demands of society, and the superego, which is the conscience and the culture within us. In the picture, we see Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove, and if this works, here we go.
You're not just gonna let him die like that, are you?
My shoulder angel.
Don't listen to that guy. He's trying to lead you down the path of righteousness. I'm going to lead you down the path that rocks.
Oh, come off it.
You come off it.
You.
You Infinity.
Ah.
Listen up, big guy. I got 3 good reasons why you should just walk away. Number 1. Look at that guy. He's got that sissy stringy music thing.
We've been through this. It's a harp, and you know it.
All right. That's a harp.
So that's not working, but you get the idea. In the video, we saw Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove, and he's standing with an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other shoulder. The angel on his shoulder represents the superego, because it is acting as his conscience, which is telling him to do the right thing. The devil is the id, because it is telling him to do what would bring him the most pleasure, regardless of the consequence. If the video had played correctly, you would have seen that Kronk is acting as the mediator between the two, which makes him the ego in this theory. Kohlberg's theory. I found this theory in Chapter 3, and this theory is about the development of morality. It includes research with babies and concludes that morality begins at childbirth. In this picture, we see a young girl at the dinner table with her family. They all have their eyes closed and their heads bowed, which implies that they are given grace. This picture validates Kohlberg's theory because it shows how the little girl in the picture is learning and adopting the values and the morals that her family share, and they're sharing this with her from a very early age. The theory of social self is also in Chapter 3. It focuses on the way in which the self is developed. Based on the idea that the self is developed from social interactions, it includes the concepts of self, me, and I. In the picture, we see a group of children making fun of and bullying a little girl. This little girl could now internalize the negative opinions of the other children, and this could leave her with those negative feelings for herself. The labeling theory in Chapter 8. The view of deviance, or the labeling theory, says that being labeled as deviant leads a person to engage in deviant behavior, and it explains why people's behavior clashes with social norms. In the picture, you see a woman surrounded by labels and stereotypes that could be applied to her by others. She appears to be trying to get away from the labels by covering her face with her hand and the word me. The label that surrounds her are things that society might try to label her as, most of which are negative stereotypes. And if she allows this, it could define who she becomes, and it could cause her to engage in that behavior, in the sort of a behavior that is expected to come with those labels. The strain theory in Chapter 8. It states that society puts pressure on individuals to achieve socially accepted goals, whether they have the means by which to do so or not. This leads to strain, which may lead some individuals to commit crimes. In the picture, we see a gorgeous, large home with a white picket fence. It proudly displays a waving American flag. This house is the epitome of the American dream. It is beautiful and large, and it is likely in a neighborhood that is safe and prestigious. Although a home like this may be accessible to some, others may not have the means to obtain it and may choose to commit crimes to make the money necessary for this lifestyle. Theory of activity. This theory is found in Chapter 13. The activity theory, developed by Robert Havighurst, says that older adults are happier when they stay active and maintain social interactions. In this picture, we see a senior citizen sitting by a lake with a young boy, presumably his grandson. They are holding fishing poles and they have a tackle box next to them. The senior is spending time with his family doing outdoor activities, and that's an example of the activity theory. Fishing has the potential to keep this man healthier and happier. The control theory is found in Chapter 8. While other theories seek to explain why people engage in deviant behavior, this theory highlights the bond that we have with society that causes most people to actually abide by the laws and the norms. In the picture, we see a man, and although we can't see what he's doing, we can see by his face that it's probably not something good, and he isn't happy that there's a video camera pointing straight at him. He looks upset that he's being caught, or maybe upset that his actions are being recorded. The man in the picture may not want to be caught breaking the law because that could lead to being labeled as a criminal, and that would damage his social bond. The continuity theory. It's in Chapter 13, and it states that middle-aged older adults will attempt to maintain the same behaviors, activities, and personalities and relationships as they did in their earlier years of life. In this picture, we see a group of elderly women taking a selfie picture with each other. They're smiling. They all look like they're having a good time. It looks like something that younger women could have been doing. Teenagers. These women are maintaining the same activities and relationship by continuing to spend time with their friends like they probably did when they were younger. And that is my last theory. Thank you so much for listening.